Okay, so what you're saying right now is basically a proof of concept for automating pencil project. Because in our college, in the subject called HCI, we had an activity where we were supposed to make a user login and then user registration. But our professor, being the type of person he is, if we wanted to use a keyboard, we should be able to have all the possible combinations. I can't believe he actually said that to us. All the possible combinations. In other words, if you pressed A in the next page, it should show up as A, and if you pressed B again, or if you pressed A again, it should show up as AA. And then if you pressed another key, you know, it should account for all the types of keys, whether it be lowercase, uppercase, special characters, or even numeric numbers. And I think that's absolutely stupid. Why would you even think of doing that? I have no idea. So, which is why I tried thinking of a way to automate pencil project. So, for example, let's have a file here. It's just a blank page with label. In label, that's where the user will log in. Our user input basically. It's where we should be able to have any type of, you know, username or any type of password or anything else. That's where we should focus on, being able to brute force that. So here's what I thought of. Maybe we can automate it by manually editing the EPGC file. Also, for the record, EPGC is the special file format developed by Pencil Project for, saving the format of the project. So the first thing I did was I tried opening it in a text editor, but it looked like a bunch of gibberish because it is a binary file. So next thing I tried was strings, which is looking for all the possible strings inside of that binary file, which resulted in nothing. And then I tried using the file command, which actually gave me some crucial info. So basically, we have EPGC. It turns out EPGC is just a gzip compressed data. In other words, it's an Evolus project or Evolus Pencil gzip file. It's just compressed data using GNU Zip, which is a variant of Zip that is based on GNU or developed by GNU, the foundation. So I actually tried looking at the source code for Pencil Project because Pencil Project is open source and free, and it turns out that it was actually made in TypeScript, and even the files it uses are actually just text files that are using XML to format itself. So I created a Python script, or actually before that, let's look at how we can go inside of an EPGC file. So let's decompress it. We should actually rename it to EPGC from EPGC to just GZ. That way, with the command will be able to properly recognize the file. So let's decompress the file. Let's look at the file type again. It's a POSIX star archive, so let's untar that by extracting it. And there we go, we have the different types of files it uses. We have page and then followed by the ID number of that specific page, and that ID will actually show up in a bunch of other files, such as the content and thumbnails. So for example, oh, by the way, if it looks like I'm not doing anything, it's because I'm actually doing a voiceover of my own recording. So yeah, inside of the content.xml, we can see the page and then the corresponding page ID and then its file. So what we need to do is actually automate how to create copies of that file while also creating unique IDs. Inside of the page file, we can find the label, which is found in C data. So if we change that data into something like AAA, when we convert it back to EPGC file, we'll be able to see AAA instead of label. That's how we can automate it. That's the most crucial part. I'm not speaking, by the way. I'm actually just waiting for my own recording to continue. So yeah, I created a Python script. Well, mostly Copilot. I just adjusted the code by a little bit because Copilot does. I mean, AI doesn't exactly give the most proper coding or the most correct coding in one shot. So let's try to run it. Python. Well, I guess before that we should take a look at what the original file looks like before we start. So yeah, it's just a white page with label on it. And again, that label part is where the brute force will happen, where each possible combination will be able to occur. So yeah, let's run the file. The Python file, I mean. So it'll be Python 3.12 or any other version that can support the libraries. And then the main.py. It copied the file, it extracted the file, it found the ID, it processed the ID, it created copies of that specific page, and then replaced all of the instances of that ID with the corresponding page number, which is our combination of numbers or letters or words. But for now, since it's a proof of concept, I just relied on 0 to 9. And let's take a look. And yeah, we have a bunch of pages. The content is edited. In our thumbnails, we can find that it's also we can also find that it's been changed. So let's try to convert it back to EPGC file now. So what we'll do is archive all of that files into one file called test, and then we'll compress it using the GNU-zip format. I mean GNU-zip algorithm. And then we'll rename it to EPGZ. And then let's try opening it. And yeah, there we go. We've basically automated it. Oh, but in this part of the recording, something went wrong in my script, so that label should actually be 0 to 9, but I'll fix it real quick. And yeah, if you couldn't tell, I actually just paused the recording. Let's try running it again with the proper Python file, Python program. Let's do the same thing as earlier. Let's check the file. And there we go. We've basically automated how to create pages with all the possible combinations of anything. And yeah, that's awesome.